I've spent the last 4 days in this beautiful part of Italy with some of the world's leading experts in the fields of consciousness exploration and research. I've had the chance to speak to many of them, including Allyn Evans, Stefano Roverso, Luigi Sciambarella, and many more. The talks and workshops explored the latest research and innovations in the field, and they were really about exploring personal growth and evolution on a spiritual level, covering everything from lucid dreaming, spoon bending, out-of-body experiences, breath work, journaling, heart energy, and so much more. Through it all, I've been on a quest to find some practical, actionable tips on how to explore and expand consciousness in our everyday lives, using expanded states for transformation and growth. And of course, share all of that with you. So what did I discover?
We don't realize it, or most of us don't realize it, but we are run by our subconscious mind. So what I mean by that is we're run by things we don't know, understand. It could be cultural beliefs, it could be from our childhood, it could be for other reasons. But with meditation, with the practice, you are opening up communication to that part of yourself. And that is so powerful for self-healing and self-development.
When you lose yourself in a book, when you lose yourself in a hobby, this is an expanded state of consciousness. And it's one that we discredit. That's no different than time on a mat. That's no different than the mindset of somebody in a deep practice of Zen meditation, for instance. So if you lose track of time or sense of place, awareness, presence, and so on in your waking life, you are already engaging in a practice.
Follow the heart. What you feel inside your heart. This is the wisdom part of us. You never lose yourself if you follow your heart, if you follow your intuition, what you have inside. Have fun. This is very important. We don't have to be too much seriously with us. Having fun is something special that gives you the opportunity to change perspective and see what you think is not possible or too hard to maintain with lightly energy, with the energy that you really need to have to overcome.
We all have access to these realms. I feel like a lot of people seek externalized authority or externalized experiences, trying to find these states of expanded consciousness even through psychedelics, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it can become this dependent relationship where you're thinking you can only access these states outside of yourself. And to realize that no, it's actually our birthright to be able to access these expanded states of consciousness, to be able to have these amazing transformational experiences every night while we sleep or when we're going on meditations, astral projecting. It's so powerful, and the insight you can get there, and also the agency you can find in those spaces, the self-empowerment and the self-guidance that you find once you tap into the skills of lucid dreaming and astral projection, then really empowers your life.
Of all the many practices that I've been exploring, and there's so many, I would say two are particularly important. One is connecting with others, to actually look at someone and see that I'm connecting with a soul looking back at me that I can't see, I can't hear it, I can't touch it, and yet I know it's there. And that to focus on it, bring it into high definition by making it conscious, and then experience communion, a place where the two become one. And then the other side of it for me as a philosopher is to question deeply and to be able to doubt my own beliefs and be open to finding better ones. And the more I've done that, the more my understanding has evolved, and not just my understanding, but actually my everyday experience of what this reality is we're in has been transformed over and over again.
I really like journaling because it is an opportunity for you, as I say, to finish your own thoughts. Very often we have thoughts that are uncomfortable. And so our clever brain has like a firewall from these thoughts. So very often we don't finish them, and these thoughts just keep circling in our mind. And then when we want something, when we want to manifest something, and it's not happening, we're wondering, why not? So my journaling meditation was exactly about that, about asking the right questions, turning in with the help of the Monroe sound science. You turn in and you ask a question, you see what comes up, and you just write it down with no judgment, with no right or wrong. You just see whatever comes up, you write it down. But it's also an opportunity for you to see where the blockages may be, or to see where there are not, and to see where your energy flows and have your manifestations easily.
Practice, but with gentle persistence, because sometimes we think that we have to grasp at something because we've heard about people having mystical experiences, so we want that, and it just becomes another thing to strive for. Whereas if we just have a consistent, gentle practice, and there's plenty of tools at Monroe to help you do that, then you start to build some sort of momentum, and that is really the starting point. There's a lot more being published, there's more in the news, there's more in magazines and stories, but also in TV series and documentaries on consciousness. So people are starting to build up a language of consciousness, and that it's not just dismissed as this strange thing that happens to some very specific and odd people, but everybody has access to these spaces. So I think there's going to be more research and evidence-based information out there about consciousness, but also more access to methodologies and tools that people can be using to have the very direct experiences.
My main advice is to assume the responsibility for our own self-healing. When we are not healed, the wounded is going to wound, and we are constricting ourselves and others in this world, through our interactions, through our living, through our being, into the falsehood rather than being in the truth. So self-healing, healing starting with ourselves, it's going to have that ripple effect on everything, on our life and on others around us.
The exploration of consciousness to me has a lot to do with walking on the path of your soul. So the first, let's say, suggestion I could do is never stop exploring. Be curious, allow things to happen, look for synchronicity happening in your life, and follow your intuition.
And what did some of the participants get out of it?
This stepping into the exploration of consciousness has given me this open door to this new perspective of how to live. So for that, I think it's very important because it has completed me. Every time that you talk to someone that is also in this journey, you learn something from that interaction. We all have different processes, but in the end, we're all walking the path, the same path. Talking to people, sharing experiences has been a great way for me to also learn from their own experiences.
Really amazing the information that we get in this conference. But the most that I liked were the practical things that we did. For example, yesterday with the spoon, and it was really from other world, I could say.
This video wouldn't be complete without a mention of the setting here at this resort. These natural thermal baths made this place feel magical. They gave my time here an unworldly feeling, and taking a dip every day was definitely a highlight for me. Now, apart from the tools, the knowledge, and experiences I gained, what I loved the most was this feeling that I was part of a movement, part of a global and growing community of explorers. No longer walking this path alone, but part of a collective, together exploring the edges of consciousness. And that is really exciting.
Okay.
This will make the bloopers reel.
Right.
I'll put this at the end of my video.
Okay.